All right.
Happy Monday.
Are you guys' kids all home for spring break? I forgot to ask you.
No, not yet.
Mine are.
Did you lock them outside?
Oh yeah, on the trampoline in the snow.
Don't come in until I say.
I love your little Easter hat too, Jen. It's like little support.
Yeah, I know where I could get you one.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get hooked up. Well, I'm excited for today. This is the last of our little coffee talks about doing more of what matters. And obviously, if you saw me break down last week, and I think we all teared up over different moments, it just shows that we're on the same boat as everybody else, like needing to know what's more of what matters. Like we want to do that, like at the core of our being, it's in there. And but before I go, like kind of a recap of that, we've got another person just hanging out with us. She somehow hacked into our log thing. So we're like, wow, if she made it on here, we're going to keep her on. But this is Katie down below. Give a little wave. We're going to give you more information about her, but I just didn't want you to think like, she's all that skill's been hacked by some moms. It's like, I'm getting on. Our kids probably next time. But this is our final one that I kind of said about doing more that matters. And we're talking about our practicals and planning, because we start out our week one, just to kind of like a brief recap of just finding what our passion is. Like you can't do more of what matters if you don't know what truly matters to you. It's not what other people tell us that matters, what they tell us we can do, like knowing when somebody says to you, like what just lights you up, like knowing what that is. And Jamie just gave a brief nugget of it. And then Cece talked about the soul care. It's like one thing to know what you're called to do, but you're so busy in life that it's like, how in the world do we do what we do? Right? I mean, can't shave our armpits. How are we going to sit there and figure out how to do more what matters? I mean, these are just relatable examples to me. I'm sure I'm the only one that's like, oh my gosh, what's scratching me? And today Jen is going to be talking to us about how we plan this out. Yeah. Because now we know that, hey, this is what I'm amazing at. This is what God's put on my heart, created me to do. I know that I need some rest so that I can actually hear what he's saying to me and just be the person he's called me to be, because I can't be an empty vessel just walking around, spending time. But then it's like, okay, how do I make that happen? What's the plannings and the practicals of that? And again, because I'm a bullet point person, but this topic is so big, we're not just doing these little brief coffee talks. We've got our registration open for the webinar. Woo! So I know it's like $9. So they mentioned not drinking your coffee. For me, I just decided not to thread my lip this week. That's what cost me $9, that lip threading. So yeah, you can't even tell, can you? Right? Coffee. So I was like, how do I cut back? Spend that $9 that nobody ever noticed and still, reach on a topic. So if you're sitting there, and all my friends should already still be watching this, any of our friends should, that we've tagged and said you need to do this, means that we feel like, hey, you can relate to us and we want you to have all that we have. But yeah, so I mean, planning and practicals, I mean, literally, Jen, is that something you just naturally have always done? Just the more kids you had, or what? I mean, how does that even work?
Not at all. Katie, I'm so excited you're here. I'm excited for you guys to hear more from Katie at the end of this, so I won't keep us too long. But no, I wasn't a natural planner, honestly. You guys know I keep it real, so I'll just start with being transparent. I would say my attempts at planning in my life were control issues. I mean, I'll just come out with that. I was a natural planner, but the intention was not for healthy reasons. The intentions was so that I could feel like I had control. And that's when it goes back. Jamie and I were talking about, we did another webinar called She's Free. And man, I can't wait to do that one again, you guys, because all of this planning and soul care and our strengths and our gifting, all of that can get really, misunderstood, misconceived when our identity isn't in the right spot. Because when we don't know who we are, we can plan and it could look good from the outside, but our intentions and our reasons for doing that could be completely off. And you could get everything done that you planned on getting done, and you could feel pretty darn accomplished, and your worth can feel really good. Like, all right, I got it all done. I planned it. I am a rock star. But I want to ask you, because this is what I had to ask myself is, so what happens at the end of the night when your value is all on your ability to plan things and it doesn't happen that way? Then what happens? You know, when we put all of
horrible, you feel horrible. That's what happens. I just gotta say, Herbie, I'm already tearing up. I'm crying on all this.
But I think that's why this webinar is so important, because it's so close to all of our hearts. And we want to feel like we can lay our head down on our pillow at night and feel like we were effective at everything we did. But you guys, being effective and doing it for God's glory are two different things. And so if we're running around and planning and doing all these things and our identity isn't in the right spot. So let me go back and make it more personal for you, because I get so excited. I just want to jump right into it. And I'm not going to give you all the stuff that we're going to cover in the webinar, but for me, it was a control thing. And it honestly, my natural instinct is apathy. One of my business mentors, David Bird, talked about the natural human instinct is to seek out the comfort zone. So it was apathy, and it was like, okay, I want to be this kind of a mom, this kind of a wife. I want to be healthy, but I'll pray about it, but I don't really want to do anything about it. I want my finances to be in line, but do I want a budget? Yeah. You know, I want my marriage. I want to be so in love with my husband, but do I really want to pray for him every day and do those selfless things when my flesh doesn't want to? Nah. So, you know, that is, I was not a natural planner, but I learned, and hopefully that makes sense. I went from planning for the wrong reasons to really realizing I needed to plan because I knew that God had carved out a purpose for me, but I needed to plan for the right reasons. So it's that balance in between there where we are called to plan. And I'm not saying, you know, be a total structured person, but we are called to be effective with our time. In fact, last week I had 2 days in my schedule where I was kind of like, oh, I really packed it heavier than I thought I could handle, but I had to get these things done. And honestly, I just followed my planner. And at the end of the day, I was like, see, it was no big deal. And I wouldn't have got that stuff done if I hadn't planned it. So there's just so many different nuggets I want to be able to share with you guys. It is possible to get more done than you think you can get done, but they have to be the right things. They have to be the things that bring you more in alignment with Christ. Because once your identity is set, then like Jamie and I talked about, then you're free to plan. Then you're free to like go after those strengths and those giftings that he's revealed to you. And you're free to plan those dates and plan that soul care. And you can leave planning for what it is, an avenue, the space, the process to bring you from where you're at now and to where God wants to bring you. And that's what planning is. But it's awesome to just leave it where it's at and what it's supposed to be, not your value or your worth. So I don't know. I love this subject so much, and I cannot wait to dive into the actual details of like, all right, let's get practical with this. And, you know, let's set out some habits and things like that. But I will say I went from planning for control to realizing deep down I am apathetic and a little bit procrastination and a little bit lazy to this is what God's called me to do. So let's get my identity straight. Let's apply these simple tools. And then now I can actually do more of what matters. And everything I do is designed to bring me closer to on that journey to where he has planned for me. And that's what we want for you guys too.
So good. We could hear that title. And I'm just going to go ahead and talk to the girl right now that it's like, I got this planning thing under wraps. Like, I'm good. Don't need it. And you're like tempted to click off right now. Maybe you already clicked off and I need to go through and tag the people that click off. Anyway.
Drag them back.
Yeah. I know that you think you got it, because I think if you would have talked to me, if this group of 4 girls were to put this coffee talk on, if I were to see planning and practicals in the title, I'd be like, I got it. I don't need their help. Because I came out with a plan for my life. literally like, out of the womb.
I'm so jealous right now. I'm just
No,
jealous.
don't be, because here's where this led me. Like Jen planned for control. I planned for my worth and my value, and productivity was my priority. So I judged. That led me to pride. Anybody that wasn't productive, you suck. Now, I wouldn't have said that out loud, but my coworkers, I'm like, what's wrong with you? Why can't you finish 3 things? Why do I have to come back and ask you again? Like that was in my mind. Now, of course, what came out of my mouth, I had people pleasing too. So that helped for me to be a little softer in my delivery. But in my head, I had no understanding why productivity was not their priority. And productivity is not the priority. And so, gosh, there's so much to that, but there's had to be a breaking of me in that, so much so that God's like, you're planning. I want you to start planning things that other people think that's stupid. Why does Jamie have to plan when to have fun? Like Reagan, she's like, fun, Cece, fun. Doesn't that just happen in everything we do? I'm like, no. It has to be planned. Here's the thing though. I mean, that the intentionality side of it, like CC Soul Care and all of that, God challenged me to go plan times you're going to sit and listen to your kids. Why? Because if I don't, then I will listen and do. And am I really listening and present? Right. So I had to plan times. Last week was one of them. I told my 12-year-old who's super, super into this new hobby. He just wants to talk to me from morning to night about it. I'm like, listen, buddy, I have to focus. I can't listen and do this, but from 5 to 7 tonight, 5 to 7, like count down the time, set your iPod alarm, whatever you need to do. 5 to 7, I will listen to you. And that sounds like a lot of listening time, but this kid had a lot of canned, like built up, I need to talk to you stuff. So he's like, 5 o'clock, can I talk now? I'm like, go, I'm ready. But I had to plan that. And because otherwise I could fill up my 5 to 7 super fast. So those are the kinds of things that God shifted me to focus on, because those are the things that matter. So this topic, like you said, Jen, there's a lot to it, but I just wanted to speak to those planners that think that they can be super productive. And we appreciate you, because we do need people to get stuff done. And I know that side of myself, like, it's helpful to have a teammate that gets stuff done. Right. But it's also helpful to have a teammate that has our priorities straight.
Well, the other thing too about it too is freedom.
Yeah.
Like my story is the story of freedom. Your story is the story of freedom. Mm-hmm. Reagan's story is a story of freedom. Cece's is, and I know Katie's got a story in there about this. I know that girl's a planner, but it's about freedom. It's so awesome to be able to say, okay, I can plan for the things that are a priority, the things that are going to take me closer to God and get my heart more aligned with his. There is freedom in that. Otherwise, the alternative is us just saying, okay, I'm supposed to be a good Christian, so I'm going to plan my Bible study, and I'm going to plan my devotional time, and I'm going to plan it's a good thing to be in ministry, so I'm going to do the ministry, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. Before you know it, you are planning according to everyone else's travel plans. And you think that somehow that's going to bring you closer to God. And it couldn't be further from the truth. We couldn't have it more screwed up.
Yeah. And what is all of that? I was reading 1 Corinthians 13, and then I'm going to ask Katie a question. Even people that don't know Jesus or don't read the Bible often have heard 1 Corinthians 13, because it's the love chapter. Love is kind, love is patient, love is enduring, all those things. But I was reading it today. The first few verses are, you could be feeding the poor. You could sacrifice your life, your money, your body. You could know the Bible inside and out. You could teach, you could preach, you could do lots of really amazing things. But if it's not driven by love, then it's nothing.
Yes.
Nothing. And that was the lesson that I had to learn. He's like, I'm not interested in how much you got done today. So anyway, newsflash. So okay. So Jen hinted at this, Katie being a planner. So Katie and I met here in the last several months, and instantly knew, this girl might help get the message that God has for the She's Velvet Steel community, might help us get that out to the girls we're missing. To the girls that were like me 10 years ago, that didn't have a group of women that understood where I was at of trying. I mean, like a lot of the friends that I had, they're like, why do you even care about being productive? Like, why do you want to work? Like they didn't understand any of that. And so trying to reach more girls. Katie is our planner that's going to help us get the message out. So she's going to create the roadmap of how we can get She's Velvet Steel community expanded to the girls that need it. So that's the addition to the team that she brings, but she's also just fun. And can I tell you, hello, Velvet. She's Velvet Steel. But what's amazing about Katie, super sweet velvet voice, teeny tiny little package, but the girl's got boldness. So, and she's got that oomph and that direction and that like, go get her. But gosh, it's so deceiving because she's just so stinking cute. So,
with the cutest haircut to boot.
Yes. And so you're going to hear her talk. So I said, okay, Katie, I'm going to just ask you 2 simple questions so people can get to know you. We're going to start with the hard one first. What is your favorite smells and your least favorite smells? Go ahead and just like throw some of those out there.
Okay. I'll start with the least favorite. I think I have 2 small children, so my least favorite was this morning of a wet bed. My girls, yeah. So that's the least favorite. We'll just get that out there. Maybe a little TMI. But favorite is fresh rain. The smell of fresh
Yes.
rain.
Yay!
That and fresh cinnamon rolls ties for the best.
Sounds good. I know where we're going to Katie's when it's raining. We're going to go to Katie's and have cinnamon rolls. Okay, next question. What kinds of things get you giddy excited?
I just listened to all of you and I just suddenly am just so excited to be a part of this team and just, like you said, the marketing side to bring in more women. I just want everybody to know that God has something for you and that dream in your heart, it's going to happen. And God has a purpose and just keep trusting in the timing. Just keep looking to him and it's all going to work out.
That gets you giddy excited. She's Velvet Steel get you giddy excited. Is that what you just said?
Yes, to all these women.
Said us.
Like,
That's all I heard.
And like, let's do this. Let's help women know their purpose and know what God has for them. It's just so exciting.
Yeah.
So exciting.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a perfect transition to use Cece to wrap us up.
Yeah, so I'm the wrap-up girl today, and let me just say that Jen bringing really in planning and practical, she's bringing it to the heart matter as opposed to what people think. And so, Jesus cares about the health of our hearts. And so let me just add that you really want to hear that webinar because if your heart isn't healthy, then nothing is healthy. Like all the things she listed, her marriage, even Jamie's 2 hours listening to her son, none of that will be healthy. It will all be a counterfeit if your heart is not healthy. And that heart health is your identity and your worth. And they're similar, but they're different because when I know my worth in Jesus, that without him, I can do nothing, as the word tells us, then I can exhale. And then if I can exhale, then I can pursue my passions. And if I can exhale, then I can play. And if I can exhale, knowing I can do nothing without him, and I bring that to the table of all 3 of the webinar topics, then I can plan and have an exhale in there, because at the end of the day, I can look at that planner and say, but you know what, Lord, it's all you anyway. Like I always say, it's his life and it's his story and it's his identity that we get to be grafted into. It's not my life, my story, or my identity from the beginning. It's his word. And we get to be, for whatever reason, he calls us kings and priests, and he gives us these titles of royalty. And he lets us be an Esther. And I'm so thankful for that. I've never figured out why he loves us so lavishly. And I don't think I ever will. And it'll be one of my first questions, like, why do you love us so much? Because, wow, I know me. Why do you love us so much? Let's just talk about it. Yeah. And we'll get to talk about it forever in heaven. So please join us for the 3 webinars. Like Jen says, they start on next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. They'll lay out like this. Jamie's will be offered next Monday, then mine on Tuesday, then Jen's on Wednesday, but it's available all month. And our hope, guys, is that you'll just keep tagging friends and keep inviting friends. And that $9 cost is just, technology costs money, and us coming together costs money. And so it's just to offset some of that. That's all that's about. So we love you, and we want to see you in all the webinars and next Monday for Coffee Talk. And welcome, sweet Katie.
Thanks, guys.
Putting the link. I'm putting the link right now, just so you know, right below.
Awesome. Bye, guys.
See you guys.